everyone, and welcome to, well, the first race of this new series for us here at RaceSpotTV. We're in Monterey, California tonight at the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for some IMSA sports car action. And Connery, this is going to be a very interesting race. We've gotten some pre-race notes here, and what's really going to be interesting to look at is the battle between GT3 and the Cup cars as well.
Yeah, definitely. Notes provided to us via Andrew, so thank you very much for his effort in compiling these notes for us. But as he says here, GT3 laps, around about 33 laps, Porsche laps, 32 laps. The times are very close between the GT3 cars and the Porsches as well. We will be having a full pace lap here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and this is a good time as any to go through your grid.
Yeah, and starting off on the pole here for your prototype class, Dustin Hickman, he's got the pole right in here. Sayandra, he's going to be second. Third's going to be Jan Schweder. Dirk Reinhardt's going to be fourth. Fifth is going to start in your prototype class is Marco Archidiacono. Joseph Burton Harris is going to start sixth. Christian Kiewit is going to start seventh. Eighth is going to go to Robert Harris. Ninth to go to Xavier Sanchez. And Ali Cuoca is going to round out your prototype field in 10th.
In terms of your GT3 field, it is number one of Ricardo Castroledo that takes the pole in that class. Matt York lining up right beside him on that first row. Edward Correa third. Ari Niemann lining up in the fourth spot. Luc Bessot, Roque Garcia, Domen Ganta, Manuel Dua, Angelo Silis, Nikolai Luchutskin, Chimonai Punuklu, I'm probably butchering these, Michael Einbecker, and last in that particular division, it's Matthias Canapino.
And then finally, in your final class, Marcel Fassbender is going to lead that group. Then right behind him, that's your Porsche 911 class, is Matthias Schonger. He's going to start second. Third is going to go to Sindre Cetas. Lucas Dolzer is going to be fourth in class. Nick Thiesen's going to run fifth in your Porsche 911 class. Becca Montien is going to run sixth. Seventh going to go to Frank Heinrich. And rounding out your field is going to be David Oranzel. He's rounding out your 911 field.
Yeah, and we're just one pace lap away from multi-class action here on your RaceSpotTV Friday primetime for this season. Your cars will pull away in just a bit. In fact, that roof pace car does pull away, and it's an interesting, we have a roof pace car and we have Porsches in the field as they get away here. This is an absolutely fantastic racetrack series, Cisco, one of the great American racetracks, but it is kind of hard to pass around here.
Yeah, definitely hard to pass. One of the more narrow tracked surfaces you're going to see. 11 turns makes up this 2.2 mile road course here. It was built in 1957, and this particular asphalt, I believe, was repaved in 2008. But as they head through the first kind of section here, this is kind of your flat section of the track. Not a lot of elevation change here, but you're going to start to see the cars gain elevation as they make their way towards the infamous corkscrew hairpin. Then they come all the way back down the hill on under another bridge, just kind of like you saw them head through turn 3, back down into the hairpin, and then back for another lap. This is a very technical track, Connery, but it has a lot of altitude change, and it's a lot of fun if you can click off laps really well.
Yeah, as your prototype field, head through turn 5 up towards turn 6, and this is a pretty tough kink. It's quite a narrow track right here. It's very, very easy to run wide and get caught in that gravel trap, which can spell all sorts of issues. They're on the run up to the entry to the corkscrew, and again, this will be very, very interesting come the first lap, Cisco, as they all try and file their way through there.
Yeah, they head up the Ray Hall straight right here towards the corkscrew, turns 8. This is going to be turn 7 right here, and then bam, 8 and 8A right down the hill here. That's about 4 stories that you fall. You come down here through the rainy curve, and then you got only 2 turns to manage here. You got 10, or you got kind of coming through 9 right here, but then 10 in front of you, and then 11, that final turn, and you have to be careful for that. A very misguiding corner here. It's a lot sharper than it looks.
Pace car will pull off at any moment, and there it goes. Feels under the control of that number 4 Daytona prototype of Dustin Hickman as he holds the field, and he actually goes pedal to the metal right out the final turn, gets a good jump on the rest of your field. We're going to go racing here for the Friday prime time on RaceSpotTV.
And the prototypes all the way down to the first corner right now, side by side, but right behind them, the GT3 field is also heading out as well. Ricardo Castroleto, he's going to lead that field of GT3 cars away from the line.
Yeah, they're just going to head their way down into turn 1. And it looks like everything is going to be single file for those guys in your GT3 field. Here come the Porsches as they head down into turn 1. Marcel Fassbender locks up that inside left front tire coming around that corner as we saw Shoga in that third place look to try and make the move on Sestras ahead of them, but they're all single file right now. But that Porsche class has spread out already.
And already problems actually in your GT3 field for Matt York. And he was on your outside pole here coming to the line. He got punched in the rear end by the number 13 of Ari Nieminen, and he got turned around in the Porsche field, had nowhere to go, and plowed straight into him.
Yeah, and that was actually coming to the green flag for your GT3 field. Let's try and get a replay of that one, because that was certainly a very interesting incident, and that was just Ari Nieminen being a little bit too over-eager coming towards the start there.
And that turn 11 is a very blind turn, Connery. You don't really see what's around that bend until it's too late. The GT3 field, they sort of pushed him out of the racing groove, but then the GT3 car came right up, and all the Porsches came out of the way, and bam, there they were.
There they were indeed, and well, we just had the replay of that one. Your current leader is Dustin Hickman in that number 4 Daytona prototype. He was your pole sitter. He's already pulled out a decent gap of about 0.8 of a second over Jan Schwitter, but Jan Schwitter has Syandra to deal with right behind him, right underneath that rear wing. They have a good gap over Dirk Reinhardt, which is currently in that 4th place in class. Looking towards your GT3 field, though, it is Ricardo Castro leading with a decent gap over Eduardo Corre and Roque Garcia not too far behind, so is Lec Besor, but the guys are spreading out quite a bit already, Cisco.
Yeah, and you still kind of have this battle for second overall in your prototype fields. Jan Schwitter kicking the back end out as they head through 10 right there, and up to 11 right now. Syandra right on the back bumper of that prototype. This is about your closest battle right now in the field, definitely in this class. GT3 for the most part is pretty spread out. You got a little bit of a gaggle between Jamal in the number 27 and Armin Nieminen in that 13 car. He, of course, made contact with that car on the starting grid there, so he's actually going to jump to the inside the 13 in your GT3 field. He's going to get that position through turn 10 right now as they head up to 11. This is kind of a little bit of a bunch up in your GT3 field right now.
They head their way out of the final turn for only the second time, as actually we look towards Syandra in that number 9. Oh, he's having some major issues in the first sector of the lap, and I believe that was a single car incident, just getting onto the curb on the entry to turn 4, I believe, just spun that Daytona prototype into a power slide. Lucky not to collect any cars or any walls, but he's lost a lot of time right there, Cisco.
Yeah, he lost a ton of time right there, and he's going to have to make that up. Luckily, you do have a bit of runoff here, but there's a lot of dirt, a lot of gravel traps on this circuit here. As we come back to our live picture right now, you can see him kind of getting that car back sorted underway, back onto the blacktop for that prototype.
Yeah, as I'm seeing a name dropping down the timing boards, and that was your prototype leader. That is Dustin Hickman on pit road for reasons we do not know just yet, but that is certainly throwing a spanner into the works for this prototype race. It doesn't look like he's got any damage to that car unless I'm seeing things.
He's got a little bit of right rear. It just bent a little bit, but he didn't get it on the previous lap, so not really sure why he's in, but that Sim.D or SimRC car is in right now, and he surrendered the lead. He's back in 10th right now, already leaving pit road. Interesting.
Now, would he have gotten a meatball flag for that damage? It didn't seem like there was enough damage there to warrant a meatball flag, but I don't know. Maybe he did have to come in and get that damage repaired. We will have to wait and see for that one, but he comes out right behind a bunch of GT3 traffic.
Ooh, and side by side right now for second place in your prototype lead, Joseph Burton Harris just got right past Dirk Reinhardt in the prototype field. The number 15 is now coming through turn 10 in a new position right now, doing a great job as he's trying to track down Jan Schwitter, who's basically in a league of his own right now. And you had that battle in the prototypes taken easily, but now they're going to go side by side right behind him. Robert L. Harris right on the back bumper of Kiewit in that 12 car. They're going to make it through 11 right now, so those guys also close.
Also, you have to remember we have the recovering Syandra in that number 9 Daytona prototype. He may be looking to make the pass on Robert L. Harris, coming down into the Mario Andretti hairpin right here, and now he gets the pass complete. That was a very, very easy pass for Syandra. The next car in his sights now is Christian Hewitt in that number 12, as I'm looking at the number 17 GT3 car. Very, very slow coming out of the corkscrew layout. He was going side by side with DeSillis, but I think he might have gotten the slowdown penalty for cutting the course a bit too much.
And that's really easy to do on the corkscrew. You know, you take that corner a little fast at the beginning of it.
Oops, sorry, Cisco. It was actually a little bit of contact actually with DeSillis that just punted him towards the outside of the track. That's the reason why he was slow right there, just to correct myself.
Well, on the outside of the hair, on the corkscrew is not a good place to be nonetheless. But going back through your field, got a little bit of a battle back in GT3s, or your number 30 of Canapino. He's just lost that position out to, or actually he was battling with Angelo DeSillis there, and he lost a little bit of time to that car. They're having a little bit of a battle, and right behind him, Elmbicker in that 25 is right on the back bumper of Gontar in that 17.
Very close indeed for the, well, near the bottom of your GT3 field, but they're still fighting nonetheless as they head through turn 5 up towards turn 6. Still single file from what we can see. Looking back at the second and third place, actually let's have a look back at the 6 and the 11, I believe, and that was the 11 actually having a little bit of an off-track excursion right there. Again, a single car incident coming down into turn 1, just outbraked himself, got 2 tires onto that sort of runoff right there, just spat him out into the gravel.
And he nearly got into his teammate who was right in front of him, of Syandra. That was Robert L. Harris. But once you go in the gravel trap here, Connery, you have to scrub that gravel off your tires, and you have to do it quickly there. And you want to make sure you also don't get stuck in there. He was able to keep the car moving. He's heading up through 5 right now, up the Ray Hall straight towards the corkscrew. So he's gotten that car under control. But I already could tell a lot of gravel on this track already.
Yes, there is, and it kind of reminds me of the 12 hours of Sebring that we had not too long ago here on iRacingLive. iRacing have made a couple of tweaks to the way the debris and dust stick to the tires, so we won't see it as excessive as we saw in the Sebring 12 hours. But though, yes, Cestas, I believe, has just lost P2 in your Porsches right there. Again, a similar incident to what we saw with the prototypes just now.
Yeah, that's the second car to visit the Andretti Gravel Museum on the outside of turns 1 and 2. And once again, same issue, just outbraked himself, went into the gravel, brought it back on track, kept going. But another gravel excursion, this time for the 14 Porsche.
Your leader is currently Jan Schwitter with a couple of seconds gap over Joseph Burton Harris. The next prototype in that field is going to be Dirk Reinhardt. Again, this front of your prototype field has spread out just a little bit as they're starting to hit a little bit of Porsche traffic right now. As I say little bits, it's actually quite a lot. David Onsel and the car, oh, whoa, there's a spinner in the corkscrew. That was Pekka Monton and number 24 spun on the outside. They all have to back up, all have to slow down for the car spun in the middle of the track. And, well, you'd rather that than a huge pile up at the top of the corkscrew.
Yeah, and that's such a blind top of the corner there. What happened was the 24, once again, just kind of outbraked himself, got himself on the brake bias. Everyone else did an amazing job not to all pile in there. That is a slow enough speed corner, Connery, where everyone was able to get it locked down. Great driving by all those parties involved.
Yeah, some people don't really get how blind that corner is, how blind the apex is as you're coming up to it, because the track just drops away from you. You can't really see anything beyond that. So fantastic heads-up driving from all of the drivers involved right there. But this has mixed up the field quite a bit. Dirk Reinhardt, Christian Hewitt, and Syandra all very, very close on track. There's Marco Arasacono as well. He's very close, and we may be seeing a 4-car pack forming in your prototypes as we see the 12 just get caught up behind a Porsche right there. Has to force Syandra off the track to the driver's right-hand side, and that was a very, very scary moment.
Yeah, that is not what you want to be doing in these prototypes. Syandra back on track now behind Christian Hewitt there in that 12 prototype in front of him here. They head up the Ray Hall straight towards the corkscrew. Not the best passing opportunity, but he's going to try and close the gap right there as they head down the corkscrew now. Throw and hold on to it a little bit. It's kind of dirt flying out from underneath the 12 prototype as they head around the corners, going to head up to turn 10 right now. And Andra's all over the back bumper. Here he goes up to the inside. That's going to be the other side of the corner, and he's blocked by Porsche traffic.
He is. Sayandra may have another opportunity coming down the main pit straight here. Maybe an opportunity coming down into turn 1. There's a battle going on ahead of him. As actually we'll stick with this one as Sayandra tries around the outside in the dirt for turn 1. Locks up that inside left front tire. Manages to keep it pointed in the right direction though. But he has to be careful. He can't be doing that too often. He has the number 6 of Marco Arascano right behind him as they try to get around the Porsche traffic. Sindra Sestas right there, who had trouble earlier on, but he's still keeping that 3rd place in class as we see these two prototypes battle yet again. Sayandra down to the inside of turn 5. He'll make the car pass complete this time. Hewitt, nothing he could do.
Yeah, no, Hewitt just kind of, he tried to use the lap traffic as a pick, it didn't work, and now Sayandra has gotten through, and he's going to try and extend that gap here, but it's just the slowest part of the corner. They're coming out of course right now. Will Hewitt be able to make up any time? Not really. And Andra is going to drive off the corkscrew here down the hill, and he's already gaining a decent amount of time here. Hewitt just seems a little bit offline at the moment.
Just to let you know, Sayandra is still down 2 positions on his qualifying position. He's currently running in that 4th place. He did qualify 2nd, remember. And in terms of big movers and shakers coming through your field, Joseph Burton Harris currently the biggest mover. He's up 4 places, qualified 6th place in that prototype division. He's up to 2nd, Ziska.
Wow, doing a great job then. I mean, he's your biggest mover on the field. And how about Frank Heinrich? He's up 6 spots right now. That's in your Porsche field. That's what color that is. But nonetheless, great movers in that Porsche field right now. David Unzel also up 6 spots, as well as battle between Robert Harris right now and Marco Archidiacono.
Yes, and Marco just lost out a little bit there in that particular battle as they're coming up on the Porsche traffic yet again. That's Marcel Fassbender, who's actually your Porsche leader right now, as Arasicono just makes his way by him. A little bit of compromised entry to the little left-hand kink right there, but it's not going to hurt him too much as he heads up towards the corkscrew, just trying to chase down Robert L. Harris and Christian Hewitt yet again. And we just see this, we just saw Sayandra get past Hewitt just a lap ago, and look how much of a gap he's pulled out already, at least half a 10th or a second, like right there. So Sayandra definitely flying, trying to recover from that early race incident.
Yeah, he is, and we're getting to this point now. We're talking off-air, Connery. The pit window for these prototype cars is anywhere from 13 to 23 laps. At any of those points, starting at lap 13, you come into pit road, and you can fill that car up with fuel, and you can make it to the end of this race. So what do you want to do? Do you want to stay out on old tires for later in the race, but have to take on more fuel all the way through the race? Or do you come in later and risk ending the race on old tires, but you'll have less fuel?
Here comes Christian Hewitt back on Sayandra. Sayandra had a whole bunch of issues coming out of turn 3 as putting him under threat from the number 12 car yet again, heading down into turn 5. But Hewitt not able to capitalize just yet. And I'm just going back to what you were saying, Cisco. The pit window is indeed very, very wide here. Lap 13 to 23. And we discussed this during the Proto GT series that was on the RaceSpot Primetime Wednesday slot last time around. Sometimes, because you don't take tires in the pit stop here, there isn't much of a chance for an undercut, but if you can pit before you hit traffic, then you can reap the benefits of that later on, since you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, kind of use that pit stop as a good way to break yourself off from traffic, Connery. But nonetheless, it looks like everyone, for the most part, fairly spread out. You continue kind of see, Robert L. Harris is actually catching up to the back bumper of Hewitt. We thought Hewitt was going to catch up to Andra there. He had problems in turn 3 last lap, but it's actually going to be the other Blackadder Motorsports driver behind him, Robert L. Harris, on the back bumper. This is kind of a gaggle of prototypes right now.
It is, and your prototype drivers especially have to be very, very careful of those red curbs as well on the insides of the corners. And there's Sayandra off into the gravel. Will he miss the tire barrier? Yes, he will, but he's lost a whole bunch of time yet again. They're back to the 11 and the 12. They are still very, very close. Robert L. Harris not able to capitalize on Sayandra going wide and maybe slowing down Christian Hewitt right there. But that's the second mistake we've seen this race from Sayandra in terms of running into the gravel trap.
And Syandra might need a new driver's suit after that, Connery. He was heading straight for the tire barriers as he gets a little bit of a block there from a GT3 car trying to move out of the way, but now the battle's in front of Andra now as Harris is trying to capitalize and get past Hewitt there with the slow down, but he lost a little bit of time as Hewitt's going to hit the dirt. He's going to go surfing through the gravel, and here comes Harris now to capitalize.
Yeah, but what is it with all of your drivers clipping the gravel and then losing control, or almost losing the control of their cars right here? We did mention that this is a very narrow racetrack with with not a lot of runoff, and as Louise, our director, says they're just doing a little bit of rallycross right there. Cisco.
And there's a little bit of contact.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that was the GT3 car of Manuel Durr, and he's also going to cause more issues on the exit of turn 1 and 2 right there. And again, Christian Hewitt cannot capitalize on it.
Yeah, Hewitt, he just seems at a point where everything's just not going his way right now in the race. Another GT3 car in front of these guys. That's Domen Gantar there in the number 17. Harris just has to get around that Audi, and then he's got a little bit of time, Connery, that he can lay back and focus on hitting his line for a little bit here. That's what these guys need to do right now. Hewitt and Andra kind of more than others, because Andra had his excursion 2 laps ago, and now Hewitt on this lap is trying to just get his head straight right now.
Looking back to your GT3 field, there's a relatively close fight for second place. Actually, the driver of Roque Garcia managed to make the pass on Edward Corey on that last lap, so he will be scored in the second place this time by. But there's also the driver of Luc Besson that we don't need to count out right here, and he's also very, very close to these guys as some of the prototypes come through on him. There's Joseph Burton Harris right behind him, looking for a gap to make his way through, trying not to lose too much time, as yet he'll just let him through on the inside right there. That is your second place prototype car.
Yeah, and there's 2 GT3 Mercedes in front of him before you see your prototype leader right now, Jan Schwieder, and the prototype field, he's just got to be sure to catch them in the right places. He catches up going the straightaways, jump to one side or the other, but especially in corner entry or exit, you're going to lose so much time to Schwieder, because Schwieder basically has his oysters made for him right now. I mean, it's a clear track in front of him. One Porsche is the only thing he has to worry about right now.
Speaking of Porsches in that class, it is pretty spread out right now. Pretty much all of your drivers are in just their own little bit of clear air. Marcel Fassbender is going to be the leader of that class. Sindre Sestas is second place, and Frank Hendrich is in that third place in class. In the relatively quiet Porsche class, and we're just going to look back here, maybe to Syandra, to see if he can pull off the recovery drive 2.0.
2.0, well, yeah, wow, what a run he got through there. He's right up to the back bumper of Hewitt. No, and Hewitt's going to turn into him there. Andrew decided to take the curb route of turn 11 right there, but still got past him. That was a little reminiscent of my Gran Turismo days back in the day, how to tackle turn 11, but it's not over yet as they head into the Andretti hairpin. Hewitt going to try the outside. He's going to try and undercut him here, get the double apex, and he nearly gets tagged by Marco Archidiacono right behind him, so this has turned into a 4-car battle now.
Yeah, no matter how many mistakes Syandra makes, he's somehow able to catch right back up to the back of that pack and pass them. Of course, he has Robert L. Harris just a few seconds down the road, just within sight, as we see battle between Hewitt and Aristogano right behind. Aristogano's going to be on the inside. They'll take it too wide coming up to the left-hand kink right here. You can't really go too wide, and they realize that, and they just file in single file for now. Aristogano just having to relinquish that position just for now as they head up to the corkscrew. But this is some fantastic fighting for the first round and this early on in the race.
Yeah, doing a great job, these guys. As Archidiacono is going to head through 9 right now. Here comes up to 10. He's tracking right now in front of, or that car in front of him, of Hewitt, and he's looking to see where he can make that move. Not going to be into turn 11, and lost a little bit of time, a little bit more of an outside line for that number 6 car as we took a ride on board with him right past there, but nonetheless, it looks like everyone's starting to spread out, and more importantly, Robert L. Harris is leaving a huge gap behind him.
He is, but Syandra will be looking to close that gap as quickly as possible. Looking at the last lap times by for that 11 and the number 9 car. Number 11, Robert L. Harris, 16.1, and Syandra did a 1:16.0, so 1/10 of a second advantage to Syandra as we have Dustin Hickman yet again on pit road. What was happening this time?
Before we go and take a look at that, Dirk Reinhardt just had a gravel excursion right there, heading up towards turn 5, up the Rahal straight. He did about half of that in the dirt. He's through the corkscrew right now, but he had a little bit. The good thing for him, there wasn't too much traffic around him, so he didn't lose too much time, but he also won the dirt.
Yeah, and that was a very fast stop, in fact, for Dustin Hickman. It's about only 5 or 6 seconds in the box right there. So that is his second stop of the race. The race isn't really going that well for your pole sitter in Dustin Hickman as we look towards that battle yet again between the 6 and the 12 right there. As they head 2 wide, they'll split the 3 wide coming down the main straight. Nope, they'll just file into the right-hand side of that GT3 car of Luke Basso. Christian Kurt looking very, very strong right now. There goes Arasakano just defending the inside line. But he perhaps didn't really need to defend that inside line that time. But Christian Kurt wasn't really that close enough to be able to make a move. But look, all the traffic ahead of them now. That's Edward Corey and Roque Garcia. They're just causing a bit of a roadblock ahead of them. Arasakano just diving it down the inside of that traffic. So is Christian Kurt. But the next one they have to deal with is that number 7 car of Roque Garcia, as he's going to get caught in the middle of the corner, maybe on the exit of the corner, and this is the opportunity Hewitt needs, but no, he also gets backed up behind Marco Arasakano as well, and that is absolutely insane as Marco Arasakano basically has to dummy the GT3 car right there as they head their way up to the entry to the corkscrew, and Hewitt just not giving up at all. Arasakano just takes a little bit of a gravel excursion. That's a slow down penalty.
He was driving like a man possessed through there, but he got too much of the gravel, did Archie Diacono, and had to give up time, had to let that car past him of Hewitt there. And now for the moment, these guys have a little bit of open track in front of them that they actually can battle, but Marco Archie Diacono, he got taken out about 3 different times by that GT3 car behind him. But now he's got a brief respite here, and he can focus on battling that car in front of him of Christian Hewitt.
Perhaps one of your first scheduled pit stops. That is the number 19 of Edward Corey. Currently down on pit road, taking no tires. Of course, race is far too short to be doing that, so he's just fueling it up to the end. He's off and away in about 12 seconds right there. He's going to head past the green cones as well. So one of your first blinkers. Also, Michael Einbacher as well on pit road. So some of your GT3s deciding this is a good time to pit right now.
And Einbecker looking for a stall, going to stop in it right now. Everyone else, for the most part, looking to stay out here. We know the prototype. We know everyone has to pit at least once here. Probably only going to be 1 pit stop for these guys unless they have to come into fixed damage. But for the most part, as you see, that GT3 car of Einbecker, he's already left. So a quick stop there for that AMG. But he's way back in the, he's confirmed right now on the scoring, but he's coming out of pit road, and we just saw him pass right there, and that's DeSillis there going to the inside, and that's that's 3 different cars from 3 different classes all kind of wadded together right now.
Yeah, Van Dirk Reinhardt is just going to make his way by around the outside, completely misses the apex. That's going to lose him a couple of tenths, but I think he has a healthy enough gap behind him to not to worry about such things right there. So things have quieted down a little bit since the start of this race, and I guess we did kind of need a break.
Yeah, no, I was getting lost in my timing sheet, so glad that's figured out. But one thing I do want to note, Joseph Burton Harris is slowly closing that gap to our overall leader right now, Jan Schweder. It's slowly closing in. It's not a second a lap or anything like that, but a tenth here, a tenth there. That's how you got to run these races, and that gap visually has closed up just a little bit.
Yeah, just looking at those lap times. Well, we're just going to check them this time by as they come across the stripe. That is a 15.601 to Jan Schweder and a 16.3 to Joseph Burton Harris. So that's a 1 point. Pretty much a second gap between those 2 guys at the moment. I wonder if Joseph Burton Harris had some extraneous traffic to deal with as Christian Hewitt, he heads his way down pit road.
Yeah, Hewitt going to be one of the first prototypes in now, so I wonder if that's going to signal all the prototypes to come in. But either way, Hewitt heading down. Remember, he was in that group, so do you think these guys are going to come in next lap to try and be on the same strategy, Connery? Or do you think they're going to try and stay out and maybe play a little traffic games with him?
I think that is all very, very situational. As you said, the traffic could be the deciding factor as to whether you come down pit road that time by or not. It is an absolutely massive pit window here at the Laguna Seca for these cars, as we're still trying to watch this, well, the number 15 try to catch your prototype leader right now. Let's see if he's closed the gap this time by. Both of them decide not to come down pit road. They will take the final corner. Again, very careful of that big red curb that can damage the front end of these prototype cars and actually cause some required repairs, believe it or not, as they head across the line. And Jan Schwitter doing a 15 flat, but Joseph Burton Harris going about 4 tenths faster. That is 14.5 for him.
It's kind of, they keep alternating, Connery. Guider ran the fast lap 2 laps ago, and then last lap Burton Harris got the fast lap, so it's kind of give and take here for these guys. And overall, the overall delta, I think, is swinging in the way of Harris right now, but ultimately it's going to be that pit stop which decides it, and Schwieder's going to get held up a little bit by some traffic right there, way in the racing line right there. And if Harris counts his lucky stars, he might be able to catch that in a little bit more of a good spot right here. Yes, he is, as that car's going to get way out of the way up turn 5, up the Ray Hall straight right here. But Schwieder, it's slowly closing.
Couple cars down on pit road. Number 5, Xavier Sanchez, just coming out of pit road. Rob Garcia is one of the GT3 cars down on pit road, perhaps the highest placed driver that we've seen come down pit road so far in this race. Your prototype leaders again decide not to pit this time by, but this is the thing, they have a little bit of traffic ahead of them. They have Matthias Schoger, Edward Corey, and the car of Matthias Campino, which they could possibly catch during the course of this lap, as Jan Schwitter he just punts Schoger right into the tire barrier coming on the entry to the first turn. Actually, that's almost 3/4 of the way down this straight right there. A little bit of well, technical issues, shall we say, right there, but that was a very, very unfortunate incident.
Yeah, and the 18 he was just along for the ride at that point. There was nothing he could have done for that Trinity Motorsports driver. He's going to park it right now, get tow on the rollback to pit road right now, so a meatball flag for that car. And his night is done. He has to come down and get some much-needed repairs to that car. Meanwhile, Jan Schwieder, I'm going to jump up to him because he's in a world of traffic right now. 2 GT3s to the outside. Joseph Burton Harris just watching all this go down in front of him.
That's a battle for position as well in your GT3 field. That was Edward Corey just making his way back around the inside. Oh, there's an incident behind him. P2 in your prototypes. That is Joseph Burton Harris. Spun the wrong way around on the track after running into the back of that number 30 of Matthias Canapino.
And, I mean, you're coming out of the corkscrew. You don't really... well, he moved to the left of the track there, Connery. I'm taking a second look at it. I don't think Harris was expecting that's for sure, and I think that Canapino thought he was going to go to the right side of the track there. It didn't happen. Canapino's down on pit road right now, but it all went wrong for Joseph Burton Harris.
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit of miscommunication between the two classes right there, as Joseph Burton Harris will get it stopped in his pit box to try and get at least some of that damage repaired if he's going to continue this race at all. But there have been a lot of drivers head their way down pit road. Most of your GT3 field, in fact, have headed down pit road at some point during this race. Edward Corey, Rob Garcia, Ari Newman, Manuel Durr, Matthias Canapino, Angelo De Silis, and Luke Beaso all have come off of pit road right now, as Canapino, yep, he's coming off pit road with that prototype right behind him, Joseph Burton Harris. So I wonder what's going to happen here, but play nice, boys. There's still a race to happen here, as Burton Harris, he's going to be really struggling with that car now.
Canapino nearly cut in front of him again. Harris, I think, gave him a little bit of a headlight flash there. Either way, no, he didn't. But maybe they had the glove out the window just for a moment there, and giving him a little bit of a loop. But nonetheless, Canapino now Harris doesn't have to worry about him anymore, as Dirk Reinhardt is going to hit pit road in your prototype field.
Yeah, actually, I'd say he was going to be struggling with damage, but the front of that number 15 prototype looks relatively clean to my eyes, as actually he gets the corkscrew all wrong. We have to see if he gets a slowdown penalty due to that. Yeah, he looks very, very slow on the exit right there. Most of your prototype leaders are on pit road, though. Jan Schwitter on pit road, Dirk Reinhardt, Sai Andra all on pit road as well, as there's a little bit of being nasty to cones coming off the exit.
Yeah, and Syandra, I wasn't sure if he was going to have enough time to get in his pit stall when Reinhardt left. Luckily, no contact between those cars right now, and they're going to leave pit road relatively clean. Syandra just rolled out of his pit stall right now. He's coming down the access road. As they head down into 1 and 2 right here. Very interesting, but he's going to come out, and traffic's going to be right on his right side of Andra. He's got to make sure he's going to get out of there quick. As he does, he's able to stay in front of that GT3 traffic. Not a huge holdup for Syandra right there.
Another driver on pit road, Ollie Quokka, in that number 20 prototype. He's heading his way down pit road. The only prototypes that have not pitted just yet, Robert L. Harris and Marco Alesicono, are the ones that have not pitted yet in your prototype field. Pretty much all of your GT3s have pitted, and we're also still waiting for the leaders of your Porsche field to come down pit road. But this is actually a relatively close battle between the 30 of Canapino and the 26 of De Silis right here as well, as they head their way up into the corkscrew. Looking at lap times last time by, they aren't really representative, since Canapino, I believe, did come down pit road that time by, which is why his time is a 128.3, whereas De Silis is a 123.6, as De Silis getting very, very close.
And Archie Diacono is going to hit his pit stall right here. So he's going to come in. That should cycle for the most part all the prototype field. I think we're waiting on 1 or 2. No, everyone has made a pit stop at this point. So they should be good to go to the end.
They should be, as De Silis just had a little bit of a luck coming down into turn 1 on that driver of Canapino, taking different lines through that particular corner, which you can do, of course, but from here on out, it's pretty much a single line all the way around. De Silis just not able to get past that number 30 just yet, but he is getting very, very close. He looks like the faster of the two at the moment.
Yeah, and Ricardo Castroleto, meanwhile, just went around Nick Thiessen there and a little bit close into the Andretti hairpin, but for the most part, I'm just looking, Ricardo Castroleto is just kind of hanging out. Doesn't really have to worry too much. No cars around him he's having to worry about for a position battle. He leads your GT3 field by a huge margin.
Yeah, and that margin is actually around about 18 seconds, which is an insane amount of time with only about a half an hour racing.
About a sixth of a lap, more or less.
Yeah, that is really impressive from that number 1 GT3. But again, this battle between Canapino and De Silis, it's just stretching out and then closing up and stretching out. So your driver's better at different parts of the track. As we see some prototype traffic coming through. That's Marco Alesicono having made his final pit stop, so he'll be good to the end. Most of your drivers will be good to the end. The only drivers that haven't come down pit road are your Porsche drivers. Yeah,
and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to one-stop it, but it's going to be close for those guys. We'll just have to see. I'm going to assume, Connery, though, that I don't think they do have to stop.
We will just have to wait and see on that one, as again Christian Kiewit just makes his way down the inside of some lap traffic right there. It just closes this battle between the 30 and the 26 up just a little bit, with all of that traffic coming through, going through the dust. De Silis very, very deep on the brakes, coming up into that left-hander. He may have an opportunity coming down his left-hand kink. He goes towards the inside, goes towards the outside, but still can't find a way through. He could have taken it too wide through the left-hand kink, but decides against it, and that's some good racecraft like that.
Yeah, as they head up now to the corkscrew, De Silis here looking to see where he can get that opportunity to put that Beamer to the side of the Mercedes here. And of course, they're different manufacturers, different driving characteristics for both of those cars. De Silis has to play with BMW's strengths and hope to catch the Merc on its weaknesses.
Yep, it's going to be a battle of the manufacturers as they head their way down into the final turn, and this is where the Mercedes is perhaps a little bit stronger than the BMW, and that's in terms of straight line speed. So he's able to pull out a little bit of gap, negate the effect of the draft a little bit, as there's some more prototype traffic coming up behind them. That's Xavier Sanchez in at number 9. He's currently scored in the 8th position in your prototype field. This may be the opportunity De Silis was waiting for, as the prototype car just catches Canapino on the outside of the corner, as they're going to go very, very close, coming through turn 3, coming up to turn 4. De Silis is not giving up on that outside line, but he has to fall behind again, and this has been good defensive driving from Canapino.
De Silis has the ability to put that nose he has a little bit more control for where he can put that car because of the BMW's handling characteristics, but that big lump of V8 the Mercedes, he could just power away in a Pinot can from the Beamer. So wasn't really a whole lot he could do, and of course the Mercedes, that huge wing and that huge rear body kit on that car. Is look at DeSillis close the gap up through the corkscrew here, but just can't do anything with that Mercedes. Too much power out of that AMG.
Yep, they have to be careful here with Dustin Hickman coming through, and actually the prototype's going to hold up the GT3 car. It's a little bit of a role reversal right there, but Dustin Hickman's just going to head his way through on kind of Pinot just before the final turn. But yet again, this battle has just closed up. Both of them. Oh no, DeSillis gets a huge tank slapper coming out of the final turn, manages to keep it out of the wall, but he has pretty much for sure lost that place he was trying to gain right now. But well, that was some good driving to try and save that.
While that BMW has a lot of poise, Connery, that's what can happen. It also has a very sensitive suspension system in that car. It didn't work out for him, and now he's got to worry about Michael Einbacher, who's not too far behind him. Einbacher still has a fairly big gap to DeSillis, but DeSillis has to make sure he doesn't have another incident like that to slow him down even more. But Connery, someone was asking in the comments, why are these guys flashing the lights at each other? Well, of course that means you have to let the person in front of you pass. It's mandatory now.
Yeah, it's the universal language of all multi-class racing. That means
I'm
when you flash
faster
your lights,
than you, get out of my way.
Yeah, it's kind of like, look, you have no choice.
Well, maybe not completely. We are being a little sarcastic to those of you unfamiliar with the sporting terms here, but he doesn't have to get out of the way. He just desperately wants him to, I guess would be the way to say it.
It's a heavy suggestion.
Yes. But as we look around the field right now, we look for Jan Schweder, and that second place prototype has switched. It's now Dirk Reinhardt, who, remember, he was on pit road a little bit earlier on than Schweder in the leaders, so Reinhardt seems to have timed out the traffic perfectly, and he's moved into that second place as he goes around the sim. RC.DE car of Lucas Stolzer crowded him just a little bit, and that's all it took for Porsche to go around.
Yep, as we have your Porsche leaders finally down pit road with only 8 minutes remaining. Marcel Fassbender in that number 2 car, Sindre Cestas in that number 14, as there's more battling between, I believe that was Ari Nieminen and Domen Gantar in your GT3 field. And that was just Gantar actually making the pass on Ari Nieminen coming up to the corkscrew. Nieminen looking to have a tiny bit of damage on that left front of that Mercedes AMG. Maybe that may be affecting him just a little bit. Doesn't decide to come down pit road to get it fixed, though, as we have more Porsches on pit road.
Yeah, and we saw Marcel Fassbender leave pit road. He was currently leading your GT3 field, so the pit window is open for these, or the Cup field, I mean. The Porsches have just hit their pit window, so they are coming in now. I guess not as much of a messing around with the fuel strategy for those guys. So you saw your Porsche leader in, out, everything good. You saw Nick Thiessen, he left pit road right now. So the Porsches making their pit stops right now as Jan Schweder continues to lead overall with a huge gap back to Reinhardt.
It's a very big gap indeed, as another close battle that's on track right now is between the number 6 and the number 12 of Marco Alcicono and Christian Kiewit, and they're coming up on a whole bunch of traffic as Alcicono just has to brake a little bit on the exit of the corner, just avoid running into the back of Nick Thiessen, as Kiewit's going to be very close coming into the left-hand kink, decides against taking it too wide with the other prototype coming through there. Not a problem with the Porsche though, but as they head up to the corkscrew, Christian Kiewit has to be careful. He is going to get held up behind Ari Nieminen here on the exit of the corner, most likely. No, Ari Nieminen very, very courteously pulls towards the outside of the track as that incident ahead of them. That is Domen Gantar getting into a tangle with the car of Frank Henreich right there. We'll have to get a replay of that one. This was just confusion with the multiclass racing that we have going on here. Actually, that was Domen Gantar. There was really no fault at all of Frank Henreich right there, because Gantar just lost it and dropped it on his own on his inside.
And Archie Diacono had to go through the gravel here, didn't make any contact, but he had to go off-roading in a prototype to miss that accident. Domen Gantar was able to get that car righted, but some wing damage on that car. And the Porsche, the 23, what happened? Gantar just, I think, overcooked, or kind of went for it all underneath the Porsche there and couldn't hold on to it, and eventually got loose, maybe a little bit of curb clip, and came right in front of that Porsche.
Yeah, you just had to run through the dirt a little bit as well. So I wonder if that was a factor as well, just the loss of grip coming down into that very, very tricky left-hander coming down the hill. And, well, that has just resulted in what you have just seen right there. As, again, there's Dustin Hickman that just got past the car of Xavier Sanchez, in fact, because Sanchez is held up right behind this train of Porsches and GT3s, and he's got to be very, very careful coming into the corkscrew right here. He has to be very, very patient, not force the issue too much. We've seen what that can result in during the course of this race, as he's just going to file his way through relatively unscathed. So a couple of classic multi-class incidents we've been having right here, Cisco.
Yeah, Xavier Sanchez now going to go the outside of that 23 Porsche, a little bit close right there. The 23 is going to get a little piece of the curve, but Sanchez now going to use that prototype power to power past the Porsche. And yeah, I just said power about 5 times in one sentence. I have no idea how I did that. Nonetheless, Hewitt. And what's funny for Christian Hewitt, a lot of the positions he's lost, Connor, is because he keeps catching these clumps of traffic. I think he's getting kind of bored of it right now with less than 4 minutes to go. Or 5 minutes, rather.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact between the 17 and the 23, Frank Henrich and Domen Gonta yet again. You've got to remember that Hendrick is actually in a battle here with the number 10 of Nick Thiessen. Now, we haven't had many Porsche battles to commentate on over the course of this race, but these guys have found one for us to do exactly that on, as Nick Thiessen just going to ride the back bumper a little bit coming through turn 5. Okay, he looks towards the inside of the kink. Maybe he was just thinking about it. He just showed the nose, just letting Hendrick know he was there. And remember, they have the GT3 Domen Gonta right behind them. But will Nick Thiessen look to make a move coming up into the corkscrew? He thinks about it yet again, a little bit squirrely on the brakes, but again decides against it.
Yeah, and as they come through 9 right now, Thiessen just looking for his opportunity. He's got time left to go here. So he can make that move when he feels comfortable or when the 23 made a mistake. And we saw the 23 got a little bit of damage in that incident with Gontar, who's right behind Thiessen right now. But we know Thiessen probably has the better car in terms of damage, at least.
Yeah, Thiessen did very, very well in the previous race prime time, which was the Pro GT series, and he was actually in the GT2 field for that one, as he has a look around the outside, maybe coming into the Mario Andretti hairpin there. But again, Domen Gonta being the very, very patient GT3 that he is right now, just letting these two guys fight it out for now. He doesn't really, well, actually he does have someone right behind him. That's Manuel Durr, just looking at making it 2 battles in one fight, as Gonta has to get a move on right now. He's been patient for far too long. He dives it down the inside of the Porsche of Nick Thiessen right here, trying to put some lap traffic in between him and Manuel Durr. There's the 2 battles in one shot you were looking for as they file their way in through the left-hand kink.
And Gontar, I mean, do you blame him for being as patient as he was? We saw what happened that first time, so he's now going to be very patient, gets him before the corkscrew. Hendrick is going to close the gap, but the gap's going to close, and Manuel Durr is going to be kind of stuck between these 2 Porsches. These are battling Porsches. You got to remember that, because you can't stick your nose in front and expect them to get out of your way. Thiessen isn't going to get out of your way because he's worried about that Porsche in front of him.
Yep, exactly, and this is the trouble that Durr is having right now. He's getting held up a little bit too much behind these 2 Porsches. He finally decides to make his way down the inside of the final turn, but he still has 1 more to go, and this is just allowing the car of Domen Gonta ahead of him just to get away a little bit in that particular battle for the GT3 that is around about the 5th place in class right there. This battle in the Porsches, though, this is for the final spot on the podium, so Nick Thiessen will be absolutely desperate to get that accolade.
Yeah, and right now they're going to... Thiessen right now still stalking the back bumper. He's running out of time, though. 1 minute and change left in this session. He got right on the back bumper there. Wasn't able to do anything, but it's getting close to the end of this thing. Thiessen has to make his move now.
He really does. As more battling going on in the GT3 field. That was Canapino and Angelo De Silis as they're going to be heading to Y, coming through the early stages of the lap as Canapino, sharp left hand turn into the wall right there. But we're going to have to look back towards this fight, though, between Nick Thiessen and Frank Hendrick, as I believe that incident that we just saw on screen was caused by technical issues. As, yeah, this battle is going to be the one to watch coming towards the end. It's going to be 3rd place in your Porsche field, as this is going to be the white flag lap we suspect it's going to be this time by. Just looking at Jan Schwitter, he's just coming up to the final corner right now. He has a huge bunch of traffic right ahead of him as he almost gets together with the car of Ollie Quokka. He will be getting the white flag this time by. This is the final lap for your race right here, and it's going to be running out of time for Nick Thiessen as he has to leave a gap for the prototype cars coming through, and again Hendrik has to leave the same gap for the prototype cars coming through. That was of Ollie Quokka, Jan Schwitter. So this would be fairly interesting. These guys basically have to go one extra full lap on your leader, because he just got lapped on that final lap. As Ollie Quokka, he's going to just make his way through on the inside right there. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one, as Nick Reinhardt, he's just going to dive it down the inside of Nick Thiessen right there, as Robert L. Harris also makes his way around those particular cars as well. So kind of spoiling this fight that we have for P3 though, as there's a car off ahead. That is Ollie Quokka off into the gravel out of the left-hand kink. But they're going to be pretty much safe and sound as they head their way down through the corkscrew. Jan Schwitter is just coming towards the end of the lap right now. This will be the checkered flag this time by for Jan Schwitter as he rounds his way around the final corner. He's going to put pedal to the metal and he's going to drive it all the way to the line. Does a little bit of a victory swerve across the line, and that's going to be Jan Schwitter is going to win your prototype division. Ricardo Castrolito was also very, very close to that as well.
Oh, problems for Nick Thiessen. He just pounded the tire wall on the last corner trying to make the move there, Connor. He tried to make the move on Frank Heydrich in front of him and just got cut the curb, and it all went wrong for Thiessen in the final corner.
Oh no, we'll have to have a look at that one. Yes, replay on your screens right there for you. It was a pretty hopeful dive coming down the inside of the final turn, but he just locks them up, gets on the curb, just has a little bit of a tap to the wall, and that was basically the desperate move that he needed to make at that stage in the race. One corner to go, all or nothing, but it came out as nothing for Nick Thiessen. It's going to be Ricardo Castroledo who's going to be the winner in your GT3 field, as Marcel Fassbender, he is coming up towards the actually he's just won the race. He's actually coming into the turn one right there. So in fact he has won the race for your Porsche class. And wow, that was a pretty crazy race there, Cisco.
Yeah, basically your Porsche field, and Nick Thiessen came over the radio to express his displeasure at the fact that the Porsche race couldn't really get started very much because of the GT3 spinout we had coming to the green flag. That goofed up your Porsche field basically for everyone. And Nick Thiessen, a bunch of those guys, not too happy with that first incident. But Connery, we talked about how narrow this track surface was. That's what happens.
It is what happens, as we're just going to go through the results of this, the first round of the IMSA Sports Car Series here on iRacing. It is Jan Schwitter, the winner in the prototype division. Dirk Reinhardt, second place. Robert L. Harris, third. Syandra, fourth. Joseph Burton Harris, with earlier instance, comes home in that fifth place. Christian Kewitt, sixth. Marco Arisicono, seventh. Dustin Hickman, eighth. Xavier Sanchez, ninth. And Ollie Quokka will finish in that ninth place. Take it away, Cisco.
Yeah, for your GT3 field, Ricardo Castroledo, the pro driver, going to win the race here in GT3. Eduard Kor is going to finish second. Roque Garcia is going to finish third. Fourth going to go to Ari Nieminen. Domen Gantar is going to finish fifth. Sixth is going to go to Manuel Deur in that 22 car. Seventh in your GT3 class is going to go to Angelo De Silis. Mike Ellenbecker is going to finish eighth. Ninth is going to go to Matthias Canapino. 10th is going to go to Lucas Besor. And 11th to Matt York, who was stuck on pit road. Nicole Ladoshkin is going to finish 12th, with Kunkol rounding out your 13 in GT3.
In terms of your Porsche 911 Cup GT3 cars, it is Marcel Fassbender that'll be winning that particular division, with the number 14 of Sindre Sestas getting the second place. Frank Hendrich getting the P3 on the podium right there. Nick Thiessen just missing out on that podium spot in fourth place. Pekka Montanen is also behind him, and David Onzal, Lucas Dolzer, and then Matthias Skruger in that last place in class. And now we've got to just do a little bit of a promotion here for the next poll for this RaceSpot Primetime Friday broadcast will be up on the iRacing forums on Sunday. So if you want to vote as to what we broadcast next week, then that is your place to go.
Yeah, on the iRacing forums on Sunday, so that's going to be this same time, but we're definitely not going to be in the same place, Connery. Anything could happen for what these guys choose for Friday night primetime. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen, but I believe we have a driver waiting for us right now.
We do, and it's going to be the driver of Andra. And, well, it wasn't really the race you were hoping for. A couple of early race incidents that you got yourself into, but 4th place finish was a good result after that.
I would agree. Mostly they were all self-inflicted. Just going off twice at the same corner is kind of, yeah, well, can't really justify it. It was just my mistake. But other than that, it was a good result for my team. We had 3 cars in the top 5, so I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic finish for you and your team. And Laguna Seca, I'm guessing you're going to speak from experience right now. It can be a bit narrow in places with little runoff, as you found out.
Oh, definitely, especially with all the dust being thrown around. It's easy to get unsighted. And 3 classes on such a narrow track. It's a quick lap, so you're constantly lapping people, just no break. I don't think I've concentrated that hard since that Skip Barber race.
Yeah, did the GT3 cars and the Porsches actually cause much of an issue for you? As I've already mentioned many times before, you had the single car race, there's no one else involved. But in terms of lap traffic, any problems?
Not much. Some of my teammates had issues, and I saw some of the other DPs have issues as well. You really have to give and take at this track, especially with corners like the corkscrew and especially turn 1. It's being such a slippery braking zone. It's easy just to get carried away and just accidentally bump into a few people. I got bumped into, and a few people, but nothing big.
Yeah, we did see
just give and take around Laguna.
Yeah, we did see a couple of people have incidents coming down into that turn 1, in fact, just getting onto the painted line, getting onto the runoff, and just losing control of their cars. Also, that little bit of bumping that you mentioned. But that was an absolutely crazy race for the first race of Friday night primetime here on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. Join us next week for, well, I don't really know, because you have to decide that one, you, the fans of sim racing. Join us next week for whatever you vote for.